What's up guys, Houndish here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a full guide on how to beat the Deathsinger challenge and the Crota challenge inside of the Year 3 390 edition of Crota's End. For this video I'm going to be explaining how to do the challenge modes. If you need tips on the basics of how to complete these encounters, then I will link a guide that I have in the video description. For the purposes of this video, we're going to assume that you guys already know the basics of Crota's End. So for Ir Yut challenge, to complete this you will need to clear pretty much all of the enemies in the room and then kill Ir Yut before she can destroy you with the Liturgy of Ruin, but to kill her you have to use a Sword of Crota relic which spawns in the pit below. So to start with, you'll need to head up onto your side, sending 3 to the left and 3 to the right side of the room. You'll need to start killing the major knights and adds that spawn on each side until the wizard comes out from the central crystal room. She'll spawn once you kill those initial few adds on each side. At this point you can take her down with supers or swords or whatever works for you. Once you've done this, you'll be able to take the Shrieker down on each side. Bear in mind that these things do a lot of damage if those Seekers hit you, so be sure to avoid those. Once your wizards and Shriekers are down, you need to clear the adds which are spawning up top and inside of the crystal room, while at the same time clearing adds on the stairs and in the pit. So you'll need to kind of split your team up pretty efficiently. You'll also need to kill the boomers that are in each tower, and once the adds in the top area are cleared and most of the pit is clear, you'll see a notification that says Ir Yut shrieks with fear. At this point an ogre will spawn at the bottom of each boomer tower outside. You'll need to take these down very quickly, and once they are down you will have a sword bearer spawn where they normally do inside of the Crota encounter in the middle door in the pit. Someone on the team needs to take the sword and head up to the crystal room and use the sword to kill Ir Yut. You can have the rest of the team weaken her as you go, but the sword absolutely needs to do the final blow and make the kill. On top of this, you'll need to do it in the time before the Liturgy of Ruin runs out, because of course that wipes your team, but that is essentially the challenge mode. It requires a fair amount of ad clearing and damage across the team, but it is entirely doable. For the Crota challenge, you'll need to have a different sword bearer to do DPS each time that you kneel him. On top of this, he's going to spawn his oversoul when he stands up from the first kneel of each sword cycle, and you'll need to take that out. Also, there is a Chalice of Light now inside of the hard mode, but it only appears to spawn once, and once it's used it won't respawn. So I recommend someone on the team picking it up around about halfway through the encounter and then quickly passing it around the team back in the crystal room before it runs out, so that everyone can get their health regened. So essentially you run Crota as normal. You can opt to kill or not kill the boomers in the towers, but they have been reduced to red bar knights now, so I recommend that you use a mixture of supers and swords to take them out. You're going to send your first sword bearer up and do the first kneel and do your damage and all of that stuff, but as he goes to stand up he's going to summon his oversoul, so you can opt to have a couple of your teammates shoot it to take it down, you know, it's something like corrective measure, or if you're fast enough you can just wait to kneel Crota for the second time and then immediately damage the oversoul while your sword runner is doing his damage. The important thing here is that you have to kill that oversoul while everything else is going on, or you will be wiped. If you are running the sword, be sure not to drop it at any time during DPS or after DPS. If you drop the sword and then pick it up again, that will count as a player using the sword more than once, which will make you fail this challenge mode. Once you pick up the sword, you essentially need to hold onto it until it vanishes. Apart from this, you can take as many sword runs as you need. I mean, you've got 6 people. I would imagine that most teams would need to do 3 swords, so I would have at least 3 sword runners lined up and plan out who's going to take which sword. If you have to do an ogre round, which happens after Crota hits half health or the second sword, you can do what we're doing here and head to the bottom of a tower and take that ogre down, and then take the other ogre out as he moves into the middle. But that's about it. To summarize though, you can only use a sword once per person, which means you need multiple sword bearers. An oversoul will spawn after the first kneel of each sword, and you'll need to kill it every time. You cannot drop the sword and pick it back up. You can run 2 swords if you do enough DPS, that will still work. The key here is that nobody can use the sword more than once. So pretty cool challenge mode, definitely doable. I like the change to the boomers in the tower. They've reduced the amount of health that they have, so they're actually kind of more feasible to take out now. That is absolutely the strategy that I recommend you use. Take those boomers out, man. It's going to be worth getting good at that because, you know, there's a lot less risk when you run the rest of the encounter. But as you can see, I got a word of Crota and the helmet right here, as well as ornaments and the emblems, which is pretty awesome. So I hope this guide helps you guys out anyway. If it does, let me know in the comments comment section below and feel free to hit that like button as well. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny content. For now though, you guys have an awesome day.